Hey, good morning. This is Lynn Graham. It's time for our 5-minute family devotion. You know, growing up, I spent, too much time in fear. Some of it's legitimate. There's things to be concerned about. For example, when Peter was thrown into prison, it says, but the whole church was praying for him. And of course, the angel of the Lord came and woke him up. Now, the reason I want to talk about this morning, is because yesterday I read an article where this guy shot a home invader, and he said, I've never been afraid of anything because I've got God with me. Now, this was an old man who said that. No, I don't know about you, but there's things to fear that I fear. But perhaps I shouldn't have. Maybe my faith should have been stronger. But I want to direct your attention to the book of Joshua, where 3 times he tells Joshua, 3 times in the first chapter says, be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous. Have I not told you to be strong and courageous? Because he's about to cross over the Jordan River. And he is in his 80s. And I think it's a realization that even your whole life, you're going to have things for which you're afraid. You're going to be afraid for your children. You're going to be afraid for yourself, your spouse perhaps. You're going to be afraid that you're alone. You're going to be afraid that you are not able to meet your needs met. But let me tell you there's some verses, there's plenty of verses in the Bible about this, and God tells us, he says, cast all your anxieties upon the Lord, for he cares for you. There's some, let me give you some more verses here. And he hath said unto them, why are ye fearful? How is it that you have no faith? Well, there's a lot of times I guess I could say that about myself. I don't know about you. And then there's, fear not, my little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Did you know that it's God's pleasure to give you things? Now, he creates sometimes in us a need. Oftentimes he creates a need for us so that we'll cry out to him, so that he'll see that God answers the need. And he does this a lot of times when we prefer not to have that need, and we cry out to God. It says, cry out to God. He's up to the task. He wants to give you, but he also wants you to know where it comes from. So don't be afraid when there's a need. He just wants you to go to him for it. Let me give you some more. Now, that one was last one was Luke 12:32. And the first one was Mark 4:40. There's these little books. There's all kinds of little helpful things. I picked this one up, I think. I picked this up at a Baptist church. And but there's little books that can help you memorize verses, and that is really the key to thing. And then you can do like what David did when he became an old man. He says, I was young, but now I am old, and I have yet to see the believers, essentially, what he'd be saying, wanting for those who love the Lord, their children begging for bread. So the fear is legitimate. You're going to have it from time to time. You're never going to be too old to be challenged. Daniel was probably in his mid 80s when he was challenged lastly. And he was thrown into the lion's den. He was he had to interpret the writing on the wall, and that sort of stuff like that. You're never too old to be challenged, and there are going to be bad things happen. I pray for my children, and I pray for my country. We have a president who probably should just keep his mouth shut, and most of his problems would go away. But he is what he is, But we can pray for him. The Bible says the king's heart is like a channel of water, and he directs it for wherever he wishes. And there's bad people out there who want to start wars. There's people out there who really, in my mind, they're committing treason. They're trying to subvert his presidency. And you can sit there and say, oh, that's politics. But when it jeopardizes national security, that becomes an issue with me. Because I spent my whole life, my adult life, trying to preserve national security, So there's fears there. So I'm on my knees, man. I'm praying for the president, praying for my children. I'm praying for their future. Praying for my retirement. I'm praying, what does God want me to do? But cast all your anxieties upon the Lord and fear not. See you next time.